Vegetable Police thinks you should fucking follow the medical medium diet. He read one fucking book and now suddenly keto and carnivore is fucking bullshit. And shit. For those of you joining me on YouTube, I am currently live streaming. People will be chatting, or maybe they won't. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how triggered everyone gets. So, No Sugar Life is joining us. We only have a few streamers right now, or a few people in the chat room. So I'm just gonna probably do my normal thing. Vegetable Police. I still watch him. I haven't given up on him. I find him funny and entertaining, even though I no longer agree with just about every health, nutrition thing that he says. I think he is becoming even more orthorexic than I am, and I admit I have some orthorexic tendencies. If you can see it in my video where I was all freaked out about swimming in, Lake Ontario, While I was camping, I was constantly concerned with whether or not I'm getting Lyme disease, especially one of the things after I had my little cheat day debacle where I felt like shit for 3 days. But I feel like shit. I mean, this is the worst I've ever felt on a cheat day. Thank you, No Sugar Life, for the diamond. And, you're contributing quite a bit today, but thank you. I've never felt more like shit than this cheat day.
A book by a caveman named Gilk. Frickin' Gilk wrote a book, and you think you got it all figured out, don't you? This has got to be the dumbest argument for what we should eat, because our cavemen ancestors did it. They were wandering in a fucking field, just worried, all day long, trying to...
Alright, my first counterpoint to this bullshit is... Back then, we didn't have the chronic disease that we're dealing with now. Yeah, we had infectious disease. Yeah, we were probably a lot more violent back then, too, and we were more likely to die from killing each other than anything else. We had no antibiotics. We had no way of treating, infectious disease. And not to mention, nature is harsh and survival is not easy. And we have made survival a lot more easy and convenient. If you're walking around in a city, it's a lot easier to survive in a city than it is in the middle of the fucking woods or in a cave or in some fucking desert somewhere or some cold environment or even tropical environments. In fact, I think tropical environments where your precious fruit grows is so full of poisonous shit in nature that could fucking kill you that most people don't survive. There's a reason people don't live en masse in the jungle. And having visited a few jungles now, personally, I could tell there are so many things out there that will fucking kill you. So, the argument that because we've advanced, which I think is what he's kind of getting at, that we've advanced to the point now where we no longer have to be fucking concerned with starving to death, with, eating a certain way. And he is right in one respect. Cavemen weren't sitting there going, I think I can't be keto anymore. I'm going to eat apples all the time. Or when the way it works out there in nature is you are going to eat anything that doesn't kill you to get calories in. You're not worried about your fat to fucking protein ratio. You're not worried about being a carb burner. You're not worried about getting fat. And you're not worried about diabetes. You're not worried about any of that. You're worried about, if I don't fucking eat soon, I'm going to starve to death. That is exactly what the caveman was worried about. They had no choice but to be ready to eat at any fucking moment's notice. saying that we no longer have to do that and as a justification for not eating the way they did is kind of asinine, because when you look at our health, and being a health YouTuber, you should kind of think about these things before you talk shit. Now, I know you're talking shit totally based on your own personal experience, and I respect that. You've gone a lot further at trying things, more so than anyone else that takes a shit on the ketogenic diet. Most people take a shit on the ketogenic diet, didn't actually try it. I know you tried it, and you didn't apparently feel that it helped you, and that's fine. But I will say that I have seen so many people, including just this, when I was talking about at Singer Stock, I've seen several people actively get better on the ketogenic diet, and having been on it for 4 years myself, I'm one of them, all right? I am one of the people that has improved their health. I'm not perfect. We just went over how I fuck up every now and then, and I only recently quit drinking. I think it's been, 6 months now? So, yeah, I wasn't doing the best, and I drank more fucking coffee than any fucking human being on the planet. I drink 2 pots of this shit a day, and I'm well aware that that's not how you're supposed to do it. So, your argument that, I've always said, the closer to the way we would eat in nature, because that is what we are genetically designed to do. Our bodies are designed to eat this way. We didn't just suddenly 100 years ago invent vegetable oil and fucking soybean oil and all this canola oil shit, and then fucking tons of sugar and fructose, and suddenly our bodies are like, oh, well, that's a lot more calorie dense. We can just eat that and survive. That's not how it works. And I guarantee you, the way you're eating now, long term, you're going to hit the health wall. Now, you're roughly close to the same age as me, so I would say you probably can get pretty far to old age before you're on medication or before some deficiency sends you to the hospital. But from what I've seen from your past vegan attempts, you did not achieve health. And not to mention, a lot of vegans I've followed over the years eventually hit that health wall. And some quit the diet, and others double down, and to the point where they say, well, I don't care if it's not healthy. I'm going to do it anyway because animals and shit. So this whole point that you're taking a shit because that argument's coming, that, this is how we ate. And it's not entirely true either. Most of the nutritional research that's been done on how we used to eat indicates that we ate whatever we had in our environment. Some environments had a lot of carbs. If you lived in the jungle, you were going to get fruit once a year when it's ripe. And then you try and preserve whatever you could, but chances are you didn't preserve a lot. But we're getting plenty of fish, meat, and fat. It was a 60-40 ratio on some civilizations, like 60%, and we're talking pre-agriculture here, 60% meat and fat, animal, and 40% carbs, in the forms of whatever plants that they could fucking find that didn't kill them. Unfortunately, that was a trial and error process. And it wasn't until we started fucking with eating the seeds of grasses and starting out agriculture and, domesticating animals and stuff like that, that our ratios started to change. And if you look at ancient Egypt, where agriculture pretty much took the biggest hold, in ancient Rome, they have records of diabetes. They have records of heart disease in their depictions on the wall. In their art, you can see records of obesity beginning to spring up. Nowhere near where we're at, because there was a lot of famine. There was a lot of problems. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of war. There was a lot of all kinds of things that led to people not getting their calories in. And it was a much more physical life than we lead now. Even though you walk around a lot, that's nowhere near the level of calories that you're going to burn when you're trying to survive out in nature without any of the modern accommodations. Wow. We made it through how many seconds? 18 seconds, and I got triggered already. Yeah, this is going to be this will probably be a long video. You might want to watch it in chunks if you're on YouTube, or watch it on the replay if you can't hang. So let me get to some of the comments here before we continue. No Sugar Life. I can figure out how to do them all. Let's see. I can figure out how to do them all at once, but you're welcome. What do you mean, like to contribute? No, I don't mind being interrupted. I just completely brain farted during that, which must be my shitty keto diet. It's gonna kill me. I think he is just desperate to convince himself of this nonsense because he has to feel shitty. I find myself kind of doing the same thing. There's been, and I'm actually going to do a series on this at one point, because I'm going to go back to the beginning of my, fasting and keto journey, because some of those videos have like 50,000 plus views, and I'm just like, maybe I should update on those particular topics, what I've learned since those days. But when you're doing this and you're in the thick of your own personal journey, you have this confirmation bias you can fall into, where you think you're just 100% fucking right, and you just, fuck everything else. You're right. Everyone else is wrong about shit. Until you self-experiment and figure out that, hey, it didn't work out. And he's still self-experimenting. And I think my prediction is he's going to bounce back. Or maybe he'll try and go balanced diet. Ultimately, if he's expressed in the past that he wants to just eat normal, by a balanced diet, a little bit of animals. He's even said he's doing muscles. He's probably going to end up vegetarian. Vegetarian is sustainable long term. You are getting the nutrition you need if you're a vegetarian. If you're a vegan or a fruitarian, or even worse, you are going to deteriorate really quickly. And I think he's already deteriorating a little bit. He's doing plenty of physical fitness activity, and he loves saying how, shredded he's becoming. And I'm not criticizing, but to me, it looks like he's losing the wrong kind of weight since he's gone the other way. I think, is my personal opinion, is he looked a lot healthier when he was carnivore. And I didn't even agree with the way he was doing carnivore. He was doing like raw carnivore and shit. And, I've never really done that unless you count, only searing the outside of your ribeye and leaving the inside pretty raw. I do that. But that's about the only raw shit I do. I never jumped on the raw bandwagon. Spherage didn't convince me. Frank Tufano definitely didn't convince me. He convinced me to unsubscribe. And I'm not going to unsubscribe from VP because he knows what he's doing, by the way. When he made this fucking video, he's becoming pretty good at clickbaiting and pissing people off. He's pretty much alienated both sides of this. He's alienated the vegans by going carnivore, and now he's alienating the carnivores by going back to vegan. And the vegans haven't forgotten, so they're still pissed off at him that he went carnivore in the first place. And if we look at this video, I think it's kind of showing, he's got 24,000 views on here of 141,000 subscribers. I think that's a YouTube problem more than anything. But his ratio's starting to creep a bit, He's getting pretty divisive on a lot. I haven't really been checking this on other videos, but I was curious on this video how people felt about it, and particularly his audience, which consists of triggered vegans and triggered carnivores. And, he's starting to divide his audience, but yet all of us are talking about it. It's been mentioned in my comments. It's been mentioned right here. You guys have clearly watched the video already. He's a good YouTuber. Even on his Camera Conspiracy channel, he knows how to get that going. I watch that too. So I haven't burned out on VP yet. I'm burning out on a few other YouTubers I follow. We'll get into that some other time. But, we're going to continue. We've made it 18 seconds, and then I ranted for how long? Interesting and shit. Here we go.
Survive. And because they stumbled upon some bones and cracked them open, oh, that was the key. That's the key. Hey, squirrel.
They did eat nose to tail. And if you look at some of the modern tribal, nomads, they eat nose to tail. When you use every part of that fucking animal when you're trying to survive. And if you look at, wilderness survival, same thing. You use every part of the animal you can, and you have a very limited time to do so, too. If you don't do something about that animal quickly, you're going to lose it because the bacteria starts to grow. It doubles every so many minutes. And then the fly comes in, and next thing you know, it's done, A
red tail. You got a red tail. Today we bust some keto myths. I want to talk
but shit.
About some things that aren't true, that are being said, and things I've felt in my body while on a high-fat diet that are worse than my life is now.
I want to know how he hasn't watched or heard any of these scientific... I never hear him talking about. He's talking about books and shit, but I never really hear him talking about the scientists that do this or the doctors that do this. I would like to see him react to something like Keto Fest, for example, which is the reason I want to stream that is it's an updated series of lectures from all of the keto players, essentially. The people that are doing the research, the science, that have thousands of people that they're putting on the diet. I'm particularly interested in the heart disease and the cancer stuff. I want to watch it, and it helps me give good advice, and not to mention it helps me on my own journey. There might be something I'm doing currently that they figured out sucks, and then I would self-experiment with whatever they're recommending or telling us not to do and see what happens. I don't see any evidence of that. When he was carnivore, he was talking about a Jonas von der Planets, or whatever the fuck his name was, who I consider to be pretty much radical, not scientific at all. And I don't buy into the raw carnivore thing. There's not a lot of, when I look at people like Dr. Westman, who have been doing this for years and have all of this clinical data and how people responded to the diet, who stuck to it, who didn't. You could check if people were, if someone's not in ketosis, clearly they're fucking not doing the diet. And that's pretty strong evidence. Lately, he's been talking about this medical medium shit. I haven't read it, but to be honest with the things that he's citing from it, I'm not incentivized to go and read this medical medium shit. Not that I think that, I have some beliefs about ghosts and shit and spirits and all of that, but I don't think we're gonna get health advice from them. I mean, they died. They probably didn't know what the fuck they were doing and shit. Why is this
cover it today?
I love your colon, girl. It's my world. I won't ever make a sound.
So first of all, I swear to God, if I see any comments down there,
I, of course, immediately did this.
Oh, but bro, our caveman ancestors would have done it this way. So,
No Sugar Life wrote, just like I was saying before, repercussions, he has to be having them. I agree. I was looking at his ribs, and they made me uncomfortable. His body fat's getting too low, in my opinion. Ab range is not healthy. I'm sorry, it's what everybody wants. But carrying some body fat is what we're designed to do. What happens if you can see every fucking rib and your fucking abs, and something happens, like you get lost in the woods, he walks around, he doesn't have a car, something could happen, he doesn't get any food for a while. He's going to deteriorate alarmingly fast, both mentally and physically, if he goes without food for a long period of time. Just look at the Minnesota starvation experiment. they show exactly what happens when you take a normal body weight motherfucker and you give them an 800 calorie diet over a long period of time. They lose their fucking minds. Their metabolism goes to complete shit. I'm almost diving into some points that I know I have to make later in the video, so we'll keep going. Well, I promise I need to work on this, because if I'm going to get through Keto Fest as a reaction stream, I need to not pause as often. So let's try and work on that.
This is the way. Trust me. Gilk and frickin' Hermack holding hands, walking down a field, trying to fight tigers and shit. There's so many arguments like fasting. People say, well,
oh, here we go.
That's what
it's gonna
we would
piss
have
me
done
off
back
on
in the
that
day.
too.
We're hunting for food. We'd get a catch and then we don't for a couple days. That's how it is. Do it now. Mimic it. Mimic the caveman in your heart. Gilk was just a bad hunter. That's all it is. He didn't fast. You think he wanted to fast? He's sitting there, it's raining.
I agree with him on that. That they didn't think about fasting. They were thinking about that they were going to starve to death. Survival in the wilderness is an entirely different scenario. And like I said before, our DNA is still designed for that. It is not designed to go down to the vegan store and load up on foods that didn't exist 100 fucking years ago while slathering and juicing and fucking crushing your fruit into fucking fruit smoothies and shit and downing celery juice and all this other bullshit with fucking shit that you could only get once a year in nature, even if you lived there. Yes, you could dry the fruit and turn it into pure sugar, and they did that to preserve it, but it wasn't doing anything for them, and they weren't getting enough calories. And they didn't, definitely when you're out in nature, and if you're turning to plants, and you can see this on every like Naked and Afraid where they drop a vegan in there and they pair them with somebody that eats fucking meat. You see it every time. The vegan eventually is strongly considering, while they're watching the carnivore eat whatever he can find, he's eating fucking snails and alligators and shit, whatever he could kill. A motherfucking was trying to eat like a king. They're catching fish, and then the vegans over there eating some fucking edible berries they found that have maybe 3 calories or 4 calories per berry. You literally would have to pick them all day and make a big fucking pile of them to have one meal. You would burn more calories harvesting that fucking vegetable than you would, get back by eating it. If you kill an animal, or even if you set a trap or you catch a fish, that is a very low calorie burning situation in nature. And you got to remember, we're designed to be out in nature. We're not designed to be in Toronto. That I'm just saying, which completely defeats his whole argument. If you don't burn as many calories to kill an animal, not to mention animals have a large calorie density. Fat is the most calorie dense macronutrient. And what is it, 9 calories per gram or some shit? I don't remember the breakdown. But it is the most calorie dense, and it was highly sought after. They didn't give a shit about muscle meat. They gave a shit about fat. They would eat the fat first. The fat is most important, because when you're burning 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day, which the caveman likely were, you need as many fucking return on your caloric investment as you can. Otherwise, you fucking starve to death. And that is why we're able to fast. Because if we weren't able to fast, we would not exist right now. If you weren't able to move within fucking 10 yards of your nearest store so you could go to get your fucking fruit every day, what the hell would you do? What if you had to go out and get the fruit? You had to go harvest it yourself. His argument will be, I don't have to do that. I live in Toronto. Well, what if the shit hits the fan? A little prepper in me coming out. What if you lose that opportunity and you're already at 0% fucking body fat, or 8% or whatever? I think 8% is where you start seeing your abs. 8% doesn't last very long. I've watched some YouTube survivors who went out there and we're struggling. One guy, clearly, you could see his abs. And by the end of his little stay out in nature, because he wasn't taking in enough calories for the work he was doing to survive, and that included eating fucking whatever vegetables or edible plants he could find, and fishing. And after a while, he got sick of the fish, like he wouldn't eat it because there wasn't a lot of fat on it. And if you eat just more protein with low fat, guess what? Your body starts to reject it. Your body wants the fat. We want the fat. Everybody who has a high fat diet, without all the bullshit of the standard American diet, and we're talking natural fat, not vegetable oil, not the shit that was invented, with some leftover petroleum shit, after World War II. We're not looking at that as food. I get so triggered about this shit. I really do, which is why this stream's going on. I mean, let's continue. We made it to 1:30. It's 18 minutes long. We're making progress. I'm going to try and go a couple minutes. I don't know that I can. Thank you, Mr. Humpty, for the diamond. And yes, I am 100% purely triggered and shit. So let's go. You guys
got
like
no
it.
umbrella.
You all like it, secretly like it when I get triggered. I've seen it.
Little leaf umbrella that he built, frickin' twigs and shit, and he's sitting there cold. He's like, I wish I could eat. You think he would choose to fast? He's just doing it. He's looking for food.
No, he wouldn't. But when you take an obese motherfucker who's on diabetes and heart medication, who's taking insulin fucking shots because they're weighing 300 fucking pounds, whose limbs are starting to fucking rot, you might want to think about fasting, huh? Is healing. Another thing we're designed to do is during the fasting process is heal. You're always bitching about healing, and I know you did a long fast, and you want to know why that long fast didn't work out? Well, because you did a 21-day fast with low body fat. Your body fat was low. You weren't supposed to do a long fast. You're not like the fasting fat man that went 150 days. I haven't kept up with him. I got to catch up with his videos lately. But, and you're not Angus Barberi who did 382 days. You want to know why they did it? Because they were fat. And when I say fat, I'm not talking about a little pudgy around the midsection. I'm talking they had enough calories on board to last them over a year. And fasting fat man, I believe, could have went 382 days. I think it's difficult to do something like that in the modern times, especially since it's so frowned upon. That's why it doesn't get done very often. It's not fun to go that long. It's not. It starts to fuck with you mentally. You are using any reserves, and if you were deficient going into a fast of that length, you're definitely going to feel like shit during the fast. And that's why I always tell people, if you're doing a long fast, you need to fucking discontinue. I am carrying enough fat on me to get away with a 21-day fast. But I'm going to look pretty fucking emaciated at the end of it, and I'm probably not going to feel the greatest because my body is trying to hold on to fat right now. I lost all the weight. It doesn't want me to get any thinner. Even though I've lost about 10 pounds recently, again, I'm hovering at 196. The lowest I've ever gotten was 179, I think it was. Or was it 181? It might have been 181. And that was after a long fast. And then I immediately shot right back towards 189, I think it was at the time. I got to start looking through my old shit. Well, we're going to do that here on DLive, by the way, where I can react to my old shit. But do you even realize the evidence against what you're saying around you about keto? I mean, the reason it's becoming popular is because it's working for people. It's helping people. I don't need to sell this shit. This shit sells itself. People are getting better. Some people are stumbling during the process because it's not easy when you first start out. It's definitely a hard diet to lock onto. Did you give it the full 6 weeks? Were there things in your keto diet that because of your colitis and problems you had that you didn't have a tolerance to? These are all questions you should ask. No sugar life. DNA has to be acknowledged. Absolutely. Where is your ancestry from? Because your DNA profile may have adapted differently during those times based on what you found in your environment. I'm half Russian. Russian temperate, winters, lots of winter, not a lot of resources. Chances are I'm an animal eater. If you're from a tropical area in ancestry, you can tolerate more carbs probably. And I believe that a lot of the skinny fuckers that are running around eating like shit probably have that kind of ancestry. Something a little more tropical. I don't know. Or they're the current adaptation process. There's going to be people that adapt to the way we're eating currently. We have DNA for a reason. Epigenetics is a thing. It rewrites, you do something over several generations and it gets rewritten, especially if it's killing you off. It's designed for us to evolve and survive and grow and procreate. But it takes a long time for that process. And you know what has to happen during that process? You have, say you have a group of people, they're all adapted to a certain way, and then the environment changes or the food changes or whatever. Something changes. What's going to happen is a bunch of motherfuckers are going to die. A whole bunch of motherfuckers. They're going to have bad reactions to the diet. And look around you. It's happening because we have changed the way we eat. So, because of that, we're going to have a lot of people sick, obese, dying at an early age. But what happens with genetics is, of those people that are dying, there's going to be people here and there that get their little program rewritten on the spot. And then they're going to have children. And then those children are going to have a better go at this standard American diet bullshit. But this process takes more than 10,000 years to happen. And we're just started. We started 100 years ago. So what we're going to see over the next 10,000 years is a whole lot of sickness, a whole lot of death, a whole lot of bad health. And then somewhere at the end, the unicorns, I like to call them, the people that can get away with all of that shit and live to be 90 or 100, they're going to have children. Then their children are going to have children. And they're all going to be still eating this shit. Unless we change it again, which we're liable to do. We want to go vegan now. What's going to happen then? We're going to, you didn't even adapt to the standard American diet. Now we got to adapt to being a vegan. What's going to happen? And what does that adaptation look like? It might not be as good as we are now. We might go backwards. We'll still be alive, but we won't be like we are. So, these are all, when you talk about DNA and that kind of stuff, these are things to think about in terms of genetics. That's my thought. Did the stream die? No, it should still be going. Mine's still going. So I would say refresh or reload app if it fails. They're getting better. Working on DLive. I see that they're constantly updating things. And I like it. That's why I have no problem with them taking whatever profits they take, because they're building a new platform essentially from scratch. So, anyways, getting back. Minute 44. Damn.
He's looking for it. So it's like
we're struggling just to get through this anti-nature tirade he's going on, which is weird. It's weird. He wants to be safe from all of this sick shit, and all of this toxins. Honestly, there's no toxin-free area. There's toxins in nature. There's toxins in civilization. It's our ability to handle those toxins that's in question. And new toxins are going to fuck us up a lot quicker than old toxins. Some toxins we've adapted to. Some toxins we haven't. You can't live in fear of everything, because what are you going to do? Then you become full-blown orthorexic. You won't do anything. You'll hide in your little fucking bubble and not step out of it. And then your health fails because of that. We're allowed to have some fucked up shit in our life. Our bodies are very good at dealing with it. We've been beating the shit out of... Like, I beat the shit out of myself for 30 years. 39 years, actually. So 40, I'm 43 now. I started 40 years. So, yeah, 39 years. I ate like shit. I drank like a fucking fish. I beat the shit out of my liver. I had every fucking chemical food you could think of. I was eating fucking processed donut shit for breakfast, washing it down with chemical-filled fucking Mountain Dew, rotting every part of my fucking body. And I'm able to bounce back by just not doing it. We're remarkably able to deal with this shit. It's just that we do it for so long and so chronically that we destroy our ability to do that. And if you talk shit about fasting, you got to understand, the majority of people you're talking to can fast a hell of a lot longer than you without any problems. Without even hunger. Because after the first 72 hours, that goes away. And if you watch the Fasting Fat Man, you see that he did all right. He was very happy. He wasn't miserable or food obsessed or anything from anything I saw and what he did. Now, granted, that's what he's putting out on his channel. We don't know what his life's like in real life. It is what it is. I get so triggered when people talk shit about fasting and when they talk shit about keto, especially if they've done it and seen not only their own results, but I'm pretty sure people have talked to Vegetable Police about their experiences, that have sent him questions. I learn from the questions you guys ask most of the time. So he's driving me nuts. If he ever watches this, you're driving me nuts. I don't mean any ill will. I'm not trying to start any drama with VP or anything. These are my reactions if he were standing in front of me and we were having a conversation, debate about it. I've had this debate with so many people in my personal life. So many people saying the same shit he's saying. This isn't even a vegan versus keto thing. This is more of a average motherfucker would be saying a lot of these things as a counter argument to justify staying on their current diet, because they don't want to change, but their bodies are forcing them to, because they're getting sick, they're dying, they're having serious health consequences at earlier and earlier ages. And like I said before with that whole genetics argument, we aren't designed to eat this shit. And in order to adapt genetically to our current diet, a lot of people are going to suffer and die. That is how we evolve. The unicorns will procreate, create more unicorns, and eventually unicorn will be the norm. Unless we change it again. If we change our environment and food again, we're back to square one. So my solution for health is to go eat where my genetics currently are working and not bother evolving for a diet that's probably going to go away at some point, because it's unsustainable. At some point, the obesity rate, the health care system will collapse. At some point, all of these things are going to add up to unsustainable diet. There's going to be a point where everybody says, I got to go keto because this fucking diet isn't working. And I'm seeing it in people now who I never would have suspected even gave a shit about their health. Some people wait till it's too late, till they've already hit the wall, till they're on so many medications and they've done so much damage to their body that healing is very difficult, time-consuming, and takes a long time. I am trying to reach people on this channel before they get there. And 9 times out of 10, everybody I reach out to who you can see evidence that they're already on this path by their health, their mental health, physical health, so on and so forth. Weight, one of you even commented, you said you saw a lot of people that look like they need the keto diet. Believe me, everyone you saw in that video knows my spiel. They've heard me talk shit about it. You see how much verbal fucking diarrhea I have. Trust me, every one of them have heard the pitch from me at some point. How could I not? Because I care about a lot of these people, and I don't want them to end up where I was headed. And the reason I did all of this is because I turned myself around quite a bit. Now, I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying I'm even going to fucking live forever. I do a lot of risky shit. But I don't want to end up in the healthcare system if I can avoid it. Might be inevitable, might be unavoidable. There might be some viral thing that puts me in there. I might get a tick on my balls. I might swim in Lake Ontario and get some kind of fucking weird brain-eating bacteria or some shit. I don't know. These are all things that I'm at risk for. But one thing I'm 100% certain that isn't going to send me into the fucking healthcare system is obesity, because 4 years and I haven't put the weight back on, and I even have cheat days every once in a while, as we just saw. I'm not going to be in there for diabetes. My blood sugar's spot on. Even when I have a cheat day, my blood sugar stays pretty normal. And by pretty normal, I mean 70s, maybe 80s. I think the peak I saw was 80s. And that was when I used to check regularly. I don't even bother checking anymore. Every time I go into the doctor's like, your A1C is great. I'm good. So diabetes isn't going to put me in fucking... How many people have diabetes? Do you yourself have diabetes? I dodge diabetes. It's never going to be a problem for me. I am 100% confident of that. Name one person that's confident they'll never get diabetes that's not eating keto. Heart disease. I don't think that's going to get me. Cancer, that's a good question. Because there's other things that cause cancer. It's not all nutritional. Nutrition's how you feed the cells that grow and proliferate. And most of those are glucose-based cells and cannot metabolize ketones. All the more reason to be on keto and fast if you get cancer concerns. And there's evidence that they've been doing experiments that keto with cancer, and standard of care where they chemo you to fucking kill the cancer cells, and you combine that with not feeding the cancer cells, chances are you're going to put it in remission. And if I was diagnosed with cancer, I would definitely 100%. I would do a long fast. If I didn't have the fat to do it, I would overeat keto to the point where I put on a little weight. Unfortunately, keto, it's hard to gain weight on keto. You'll plateau going up. Guaranteed. I've tried it. I've overate. 2 meals, big, huge meals a day and a snack every day while sitting on my ass all fucking day. Went up 5 pounds. Plateaued. Sweated at night when I was in bed. Clear signs of an increase in metabolism. Singer stock. Had the cheat day, right? One of the symptoms I've had a problem with, and I still do it. Last night I had this. I'm overheating when I sleep. My body's ramped up the temperature, and my weight has come down a few pounds. Add that in with the water weight I'm losing. This is when someone's arguing with me because they read a fucking book, and they tried something that didn't work out for them, while they have clearly had some health issues going into this, and they're looking to cure those, and they're trying everything that they can, grasping at every fucking nutritional straw, and sometimes you got to acknowledge that nutrition isn't the only thing to worry about as far as health goes. There's other causes of health problems. And my criticism of Vegetable Police has always been he tries too much shit at the same time. And he doesn't give things a long enough period to really decide if they work or not. That's what I find from what he puts out. I'm not there. I'm not witnessing his life. But I think he just experiments too much. Like, he spends way too much time trying new shit instead of waiting to see if the shit he's trying really works longer term. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to see good results from keto for months. You're not going to feel good right away. You're not going to you'll start losing weight right away. You'll start dumping water weight, which he's about to talk shit about. So we'll continue. Okay, 2 minutes down.
People feel good while fasting
16
because
to
you're
go.
running off adrenaline to catch more food. Just eat the food. What is all
I
this?
disagree strongly with the adrenaline thing. I do not find, especially when I was carnivore, a flight or fight response at all, because you would be you'd have a lot more anxiety and you'd be quick to anger. And I can tell you, when I was a high fat, very low plant, I'm very calm. Things don't trigger me as easily. One could argue that I'm triggered now. I'm not angry though. And I'm not like gonna fucking or ban, I'm not gonna unsubscribe from fucking Vegetable Police because he put this video out. No. In fact, I'm glad he put this video out because it brings out a lot of the criticisms that people in my personal life have argued against keto for. And I can't tell you, friends of mine used to send me shit on Facebook that would trigger me. Thankfully, I'm not on there anymore. I can't be easily triggered by that. But, I'm on there once a week, and I still don't read the feed. But, I find myself in a much calmer place with a lot less anxiety. I don't get hangry like I used to. I'm not food obsessed, and that's the biggest thing. I guarantee you he's food obsessed. He's always thinking about his next meal. He even wants to live somewhere where he can go to the store easily, walking without going on a fucking journey, so he's closer to the food. Anybody I believe that is a carb burner or eating poorly is going to be constantly thinking about food. And there's science that shows this. The longer you starve of not just calories, but nutritionally, and I do believe he's starving calorically, because plants are not calorically dense. And he's out there working out and walking everywhere. That's why he's getting thinner, by the way. He's not taking in enough calories to support his physical activity. And it's not a good thing. I don't care how many fucking abs pop out. It's not a good thing. Long term. There's a wall you're going to hit. I watch Bobby's Perspective a lot. And he does a lot of self-evaluation and comparing his past vegan self to his current carnivore self. And when you look at the before and after pictures he shows of himself, and I think it's healthy for us all to do that. And I know Vegetable Police does this too. He looks at some of his past things, but he always looks through this lens of trying to justify his current, whatever his current theory is. To be fair, VP is not trying to portray himself as the end-all be-all expert either. That's why I like having this debate. I do believe that he will come to some of these conclusions eventually. He just has to go through all the bullshit that we go through. I tried and failed at keto so many fucking times. Abs are good, ribs are bad. I don't know. I don't think you need to see your abs. I think that is not as healthy. It's an indication that you're pretty close. If you can see your abs, you're one fuck up away from seeing your ribs. We'll just put it that way. You're one caloric fuck up, and it's easy to calorically fuck up, as in not eat enough for your physical activity, and then you're struggling. You need to gain weight. A lot of us don't have that problem. A lot of us don't even see our abs yet, and our bodies aren't letting us see our abs. You have to kind of starve yourself and do long fasts to even get down there. If you look at bodybuilders, what do they do to see their abs on competition day and to get all their fucking veins popping out and, they get all fucking shredded? What do bodybuilders do to get shredded? Is that healthy? Hell fucking no, that's not healthy. When you look at a bodybuilder when it's not showtime and they're building and they're bulking, so to speak, they put on some fat. You don't see as much definition. You know, that it is not healthy to be ripped. Honestly, it used to be fashionable a long time ago to be overweight and fat because it meant that you were wealthy and had abundance. And you weren't going to starve to death at the next famine. You know, believe it or not, we're still designed for famines. That's why we can go into ketosis. That's why we spent a majority of our ancestry in ketosis. Not just from the food that we took in, but from the long periods of time between meals. We weren't eating every fucking day. We couldn't move next door to the fucking vegan market and go in and buy fucking 10 fucking tons of fruit. You had to go out and get that shit. And you probably burnt 4,000 or 5,000 calories in the process of harvesting that shit. And working hard. A lot harder than a lot of us work. Every time I go out on my survival trips, I lose a pound a day. When I do my wilderness fasts, when I go out there with just some water and maybe 2,000 calories to get me through a hike, I still lose a pound a day. 2,000 calories for 5 days, I lose a pound a day. When I'm out here in the world, sitting on my ass, editing video all fucking day, and I do a long fast, I don't lose a pound a day. I lose maybe half a pound a day for the first couple days. The longer the fast goes, I get closer to that pound a day mark. But losing a pound a day the first 4 days, that's a strong indication that you're using way more energy than you should be. You need to take some shit in. And if you see your abs, you're going to be hurting. You're going to get lightheaded. You might even pass out. You'll get dizzy. And I've experienced some of that. That's why I experimented with fasted hiking. You know, I was like, well, I know I'm burning 3,000-4,000 calories just being out here hiking. Sounds like a great weight loss tactic to me, right? And I know if I'm fasting and not eating, then therefore I'm in strong ketosis. I have full access to my body fat. My metabolism shouldn't drop right away. After 3 or 4 days, it will. So my theory was I could go hiking, and sure enough, pound a day. Lost a pound a day out there. But on the hike out, oh my God, I was fucking dying. It was brutal hiking out of there, carrying a 60-pound pack over uphill, rough terrain. And there were times where I got lightheaded. There were times where I had to stop. And if I didn't stop, I was likely to pass out. You know, that's when you're talking about how we used to be, that was what life was. And that's why they saw their abs. And they didn't like seeing their abs. They would much rather have a fat belly back then. Because a fat belly meant you could go a while. You could go almost the whole winter probably. And I bet you some motherfuckers had to. And did. But if you're not carrying around any body fat, and for some reason your food dries up, unlikely, given the amount of fake food that we got around us, fake calories, empty calories, we're not going to starve to death anytime soon. But our bodies aren't designed for that. We're not designed for this abundance that we enjoy. We're designed to be able to survive long periods of time between meals. Can't go too long if you don't have the body fat, but we are still designed for that. So I can say with certainty I will never see an ab personally. I'm seeing more since I quit drinking. I have been seeing more and more definition in my belly area. It's still got, I'm always going to have loose skin there, that's for sure. But I'm starting to see little indentations in places, like on the side where fucking, where you got the pooch belly part that's always going to be flabby and shitty looking because I was so fat. But when I look from the love handle section towards the belly, I'm starting to see like indentations there, like divots, and I've had to tighten the belt down a little since I've gone down to 195. It might mean I don't know, something changed. I haven't changed the amount of calories I eat versus my physical activity in quite some time now. So it's hard to say what's caused my little 10-pound drop back down to normal. I can't say you'll never see your abs because I've seen people do this who are highly physically active. The only way to see your abs as a ketogenic person is to intentionally try and get abs. And that means fasting your way down to being shredded, just like a fucking bodybuilder. And your body doesn't want to do that. Especially since you've been overfeeding it all this time. It's going to see the leptin drop right away, and it's going to respond by lowering your metabolism and increasing your appetite. That's what we're doing here. That's what your body's going to do. If you try to go to Abville after being obese, 9 times out of 10, your leptin will drop, your brain will say, oh fuck, and then, lo and behold, your metabolism drops, as in you start feeling cold, you don't have a lot of energy to do shit, and then you lose, you start regaining some weight, and then you plateau. That's pretty much the cycle. I've done it. I've made my forays down to my high school weight, pretty close to my high school weight, and every single time, even if I only eat 1 meal a day, my appetite is such that 1 meal a day provides me with enough calories to regain up to my set point. I've been trying to lower that set point for the entire 4 years. I initially wanted to get to 180. That was my goal. I want to be 180 pounds steady and not worry about regaining. Every time I hit 180, I jump right the fuck back up. Right now, I'd have to lose 15 pounds to get to 180. And I'd probably be pretty skinny. I've had people tell me when I was 180 that I looked pretty gaunt too, that I looked emaciated a little bit. And if I go back and look at me during those times when I hit those weights, which you can do, it's all on my fucking videos. A lot of videos to go through though. I clearly got there. And I didn't look as healthy. Granted, I wasn't going and pounding the fuckmaster to try and get bulked up and shredded and shit. And I'm not talking shit. There's people that's the goal for them. And I even tried it. And I arguably still need to get out and do some more physical activity because I clearly, when you watched the video earlier, I was breathing a little heavy going up that hill, struggling a little bit. That's an indication that I'm not fit right now. My endurance is down. If I go to Pine Pond right now, it's going to be hell. If I do my fucking 14 miles fasted, hell. And I might fucking be at 180 by the end of that. So he's anti-salt, which is another huge mistake. Definitely, especially if you're carnivore or keto. Another thing we did to preserve food back before agriculture and even during agriculture, one of the preservation methods was salt. They did it with fish. Ancient cultures were doing this to preserve it. Otherwise, it fucking goes bad. So we are designed to take in a pretty heavy load of salt. The difference between a keto needing salt and a carb burner needing salt, or a standard American dieter in particular, you're retaining a lot more water. And so you have more salt in your system. And if you have too much salt in that scenario, you're going to have problems, I think. Probably blood pressure issues. In the situation of keto, your blood pressure's going to go lower. So what's going to happen is you're going to piss out a lot of your water that you were holding, and that's where salt and all your electrolytes really are stored. But if you do things nose to tail or do bone broth, which you can do supplements to do this nowadays. I'm still supplement free, but every once in a while I get cramps because I didn't get enough electrolytes on a particular day. I take Epsom salt baths. I use pink Himalayan salt on all my meats and eggs very liberally too. Like I pour the shit on there. And if I don't do that, I get fucking cramps, which is an indicator that I'm having electrolyte deficiencies. The other day after I got back from my trip, I had cramps, usually in the calf, sometimes in the ankle, or in the bottom of the foot. Those are the cramps I get whenever I fuck up, and I fuck up, so I don't know why he's anti-salt or what his indicator. He had gout problems. I don't know. I don't have gout. All the shit that he attributed his gout to, I've done and don't have gout. And I'm sure tons of people have also done these same things that he's blaming his gout on. And we didn't have gout. So when you have evidence that that's not a thing, you know, it is what it is. So I wonder if that was affecting him when he was doing keto carnivore, just because he was anti-salt then too. Absolutely. You can't be anti-salt and be keto and carnivore because you do not have as much storage for electrolytes. Therefore, you need a consistent intake of electrolytes. And you want to know how those fucking caveman that he thinks weren't designed to do shit? Well, guess where they got their electrolytes? Not only did they get it by eating nose to tail the animals that they found, all of their water was coming from the lake. They were boiling it to get all the fucking, you know, bacteria to die. But for the most part, it retained all of the mineral qualities. When you drink water out of a lake, you will not have cramps. You want to know how I know that? Because if I do a water fast at home, drinking Poland bullshit springs, I get cramps. Bad cramps on a long fast. I go out into the woods and drink water out of the fucking lake, through filter, of course. No cramps. None. 0 cramps. The entire fast. Just important because you don't want to have fucking leg and foot cramps when you're trying to carry a 60-pound pack out of the woods. You're probably going to fucking die if you're getting cramps. So, you know, that's what to think about. We do need those electrolytes. That's not going to change no matter what diet you're on. Some diets are better at storing them than others. Ironically, the standard American diet, you're going to store a lot of electrolytes and probably in an unbalanced way, leading to some other problems. It is what it is. But there are things in that diet and in the vegan diet which can block you using the electrolytes properly, because you're not getting certain vitamins and minerals and enzymes that you need for your vitamin. That's a whole other topic. We could fucking do a whole video on that. I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole. Hold on. All right.
Food. Oh, look at it all. Oh, that's so appealing.
Yeah, you can't eat that right now. It's not ripe.
Just, what is it, a guava?
It looks like a crab apple.
Those don't grow here. The whole intermittent fasting thing, it's a myth. It's a freaking myth. You're just running off adrenaline. You're weakening your adrenals to mimic a caveman that was starving looking for food. You have food. Just go eat it. Why, hello, my Yankee friend. Welcome to Canada. When you're on a carbohydrate-rich diet, it's different.
I'm a Yankee.
It's completely different. You have to eat more often. You are hungrier. It's completely different. A keto
Yeah, and that's not how we're supposed to be, by the way.
diet
You
is...
shouldn't be hungry when you got food all the time. That's not normal. That's an indicator that your body still is not getting what it needs. If you are hungry all the time, like every 2 hours, you're fucking up. Period. If your diet has you eating every 2 hours, you're doing it wrong. Period. Because that means your brain is going, we ain't got enough fucking energy. And the brain is supposed to be able to manage all of this shit without you fucking worrying about it. Caveman wasn't thinking about his fucking diet. The body took care of it. It would slow the fuck down the metabolism when no food was coming in. It would try and preserve as much body fat as possible. It would raise the set point if you were consistently in that starvation phase, which happens when your body fat runs out. When you can see your abs, your body's going to panic. Whenever you go a long period of time without food, you will be food obsessed. If you don't have body fat to live off of, and you do a long fast, your metabolism is going to drop, you're going to become food obsessed, you're going to become hungry, eventually your mental health is going to decline, you're going to have very low energy levels, you might even pass out when you stand up. These are all symptoms that are well documented in people of normal body weight who do a long fast. I'm not talking about one meal a day. I'm not even talking about a 72-hour fast. You can get away with that. You've got enough glycogen on board, believe it or not, to go up to 72 hours if you don't have any body fat. After that 72-hour mark, your brain's going to go, what the fuck? You're not eating anything, and there's no body fat for me to eat. We better shut down the furnace. We better slow everything down. We better not fucking do anything. Eating every 2 hours or being hungry every 2 hours is not what we are designed to do. Those cavemen that you don't give a shit about, they weren't hungry all the time. In fact, they spent most of their time trying to get a big fucking meal to hold them over till the... What the hell just happened? New audio... What the hell? No, don't switch. What just fucking happened? My stream. Is my stream fucked? My stream just locked up. Let me... Sorry. I was talking too much shit and it said, hey, dickhead, why don't you watch the video? No, my fucking capture card. I'm glad that you can still hear me. Is the stream still going?
It's very satiating.
It's hard to tell. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking buy a new fucking capture card. This sucks. Why is it not working? Can someone explain to me why this went to shit? Sorry. Technical difficulties and shit. It's not popping back up. What the fuck? So is my audio still working? Because I'm troubleshooting my fucking connection. Yet another thing I'm going to have to edit out. Hold on a sec. Give me a sec. Switch. There we go. Well, yeah. So it has become clear to me that I need to buy a new capture card because this one's dying a very slow, painful death. So, yeah, that's what happened. My capture card has been giving me trouble ever since I got back, probably because I brought it out on the road with me and probably fucked it up somehow. So I'm going to have to get a whole new setup probably because I don't know which cable's going bad. I'm suspecting that the USB port is somehow damaged because it undetects and all my shit goes to shit. So sorry for the technical difficulty there, which is probably a good thing because it stopped me from not advancing the VP video even further. We've made it 2.5 minutes. This is going to be a long one. I don't know that it's going to do well on YouTube because of how long it's going to be, but we're hanging in for the whole fucking thing.
In my opinion, because it's so hard to digest, it's just sitting in your gut and your body's like, yeah, we've had enough of that. No more need for food. We'll be digesting this for the next 14 hours. So it's like...
let me get through some of the chat here. I wondered if that was affecting him when he was doing keto carnivore because it was an anti-salt. Then I underestimated the amount of salt needed, and now I drink a small amount of soul water, pink salt water, twice a day, and haven't had a cramp since. That's the same thing. I don't like drinking it in my water. I've tried that. So I just pour the shit out of it. Pink Himalayan salt. Plus I use Montreal seasoning on my ribeye very liberally. So I'm getting some electrolytes that way. And whenever I almost daily take an Epsom salt bath. That's part of my routine. And Epsom salt's really cheap because, believe it or not, you can absorb your electrolytes through your skin. So having them in your bath water, a good way. And that's another way the cavemen had their electrolytes, is they were fucking taking a dip in the lake. Guess what? You're going to get some electrolytes in. Nowadays, you take a dip in the lake, you're going to get all kinds of chemicals and microplastics and fucking all kinds of pollutants and shit. But back then, they could go in the lake and have their health replenished. You're not going to replenish. Here's another thing, VP. You're not going to fix your health living in Toronto. You're just not in an environment conducive to getting healthy. You are doing much better in Thailand, in my opinion.
Carbohydrates, yeah, you got to keep topping up. Like, I'm going out here, I have no food right now. I got to stop off at a fruit market or something, or I'm going to die. So I look for the ripe bananas. Maybe I can get some figs. Then we fig it up. Fig it in your mouth. Free bed bugs to anybody who wants them.
No problem, Mr. Humpty. This video will be on YouTube this weekend, editing out all the fuck-ups that have happened during the stream, of course.
Timmy, Steve, and the whole family. So yes, I'm absolutely hungrier on a high-carb diet than I was on the high-fat carnivore diet. For sure. 100%. But there's nothing wrong with that. So what? You gotta eat more often. You bring food with you. It's more of a pain in the ass, for sure. It was so easy being carnivore, I will admit it. That's one of the benefits. You just shop for some meat. You could eat 1 or 2 meals a day.
That's how we ate, motherfucker. And believe it or not, even post-agriculture, that's what we were still doing.
So easy. Pain in the butt. And you go
We weren't all wealthy enough back then to fucking eat 3 meals a day and walk down to the inn. Arguably, I'm not wealthy enough to do that for sure.
Oh, you're good to go for like 5 hours.
I don't have enough subscribers to go to the fucking store every day. I just don't. Maybe someday. Maybe.
Myself back into the carnivore diet. I'm gonna go get some meat. Why, hello there, free kitchenware. It's been a while. Oh, there's a lot of diseases in that, I can tell.
Happy, healthy, hungry.
What is this? It feels like soft. Oh, that's for butter. That's keto. Don't get that. But the plus side of that, whenever I would go out on the keto diet, I didn't have a ton of energy.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Before carnivore and during carnivore, I don't know that he was high fat keto. It looked like he took in a lot of fat, but he never really outright called it keto. He separated it from keto, and that's probably correct. And certain forms of a carnivore diet are not ketogenic because of the ratios. But you know, and I'm. In my opinion, I think he did do a lot of lean proteins while he was carnivore, which is not a good way to go. You're going to run into that rabbit starvation issue. The body needs fat. We need fat. We crave it. We like it. Believe it or not. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think his keto high-fat days were vegan keto, if I remember right. Correct me if I'm wrong on that in the comments below if you're on YouTube or here if you're watching on DLive. I do believe that, I think he was plant-based keto. And I can tell you, you're not going to feel very good on plant-based keto. You can do it, though. It's hard. You're going to be deficient in a lot of things. But I wouldn't want to do a plant-based keto. It just, I couldn't do it. The entire time on keto, I've always had meat and fat. Back when I did eat more plants, I put tons of meat and fat. Like I would pour ground beef, butter, like a quarter of a stick of butter on a salad, like usually spinach. Talk about oxalates overloads. No wonder I felt fucked up a little bit. Just saying, you know. Just saying. We're not designed to eat shit tons of plants.
I could walk, but if I shopped, I just noticed this. When I first came back here and I was doing some Value Village shopping for clothes, just sorting through the racks, the t-shirts, oh, that sucks. Shoulder, couldn't handle it on the carnivore diet. I was like, oh, what?
Now, I've been watching you a while, and I gotta say, you were not talking shit while you were on the diet. You were demonizing your past diet, and any other diet that wasn't your current diet, just like you are now, justifying and reaching and trying to convince yourself. I don't even think you're trying to convince us. I think you're trying to convince yourself that you're doing the right thing. And then eventually you're like, well, that didn't work. And then you go to the next thing, and you've been chasing this a while now. And I know it can be frustrating, because when you self-experiment, some of your experiments are going to fail. And, you know, especially if you had a lot of, like, I believe in this type stuff going on, and then it fails on you, it's really disheartening. Because then you wasted all that time. You might even stepped backwards in your process. But, you know, it's a learning process. Process of elimination. Elimination-style diet is the way to go. But you're essentially just bouncing back and forth between two extreme diet ideologies and you're not giving each one a good long crack at it either. You're not staying on it for years. You know, I've been on keto a long time now. I've bounced out of it. I've had cheat meals. I've had cheat weeks. Early on, I was having cheat days a lot and suffering a lot. You know, I wish I could reach people with this mindset. But unfortunately, as I've said before, a lot of people need to get there on their own. No matter what I say or what anyone else says, once a person is convinced that what they're doing is the right way, it's going to be very difficult for them to change their minds, especially if they're healthier than they were. If they see some form of benefit from doing it, no matter what bullshit you talk. That's why I always laugh at when people are fucking trying to convince me how fucking stupid this diet is. I'm like, look, you can talk shit all you want. You can run your mouth all fucking day. You're not going to undo how I feel on this diet. You're not going to undo that I lost all this weight. You're not going to undo that I'm not pre-diabetic. You're not going to undo that my blood pressure's normal now. You're not going to undo that I go into the doctor and he doesn't want to fucking give me any pills or medications or anything, and he gave me a big thumbs up. You know, you're not going to undo any of that. No matter what bullshit you talk. You tell me I'm going to die in 5 years? Well, there's no evidence of that, and I've been on it for 4 years, so I'm due, aren't I? Shouldn't I be almost starting to die right now? Isn't that the title of this video? 5 signs your keto diet is killing you? How long is it going to take to kill me? Is it going to take 20 years? Because guess what? I'm in my 40s. That'll put me right around the average age of death right now, wouldn't it? Most people are going in their 60s nowadays, thanks to our shitty diet. And well, what the hell? I had a good run. At least I felt good for that 20 years. I don't think that's going to be the case, personally. I think if nothing else kills me, infectious disease, hit by a truck, fall off a fucking cliff, become missing in Yosemite, all these other things that I do that are stupid, walk around Split Rock during a thunderstorm holding up a metal umbrella, you know, sometimes I do dumb shit. So my life expectancy will be affected proportionally. But as long as I'm not in a fucking nursing home. That's what I don't want. If I'm not in a fucking nursing home, I won. If I'm not on any fucking pills, I won. If I'm not a permanent guest at the VA hospital, I won. That's what I want. That's all I care about. I don't care if I see my abs. I don't care if I get another relationship or whatever. I don't care about any of that. I just don't want to go out that way. I'd much rather go out some other way. And I want to feel good doing it, and I want to have a fulfilling life for the years that I do have left. And understanding that I could go at any time for any reason, because I do a lot of risky shit, I want my quality of life to be high. I don't want to be hungry every 2 hours. I don't want to have metabolism problems and energy problems and all of these issues. And for the majority of the time that I've been doing this, I'm feeling pretty fucking good, especially when you compare me to old me, which we did. We saw. I feel way better now. I look way better now. I'm not fucking beautiful. No, I don't. You know, I look like fucking Sid Haig from a Rob Zombie movie. Yay. Although somebody did say I don't look like that. But I will say, from where I was to where I am now is a big contrast. And I can see it, and people around me have seen it. And some people have seen it and said, how did you do that? And I told them, and then they did it. Some people tried to do it and failed. It is what it is. Some people need to get there in their own due time. And more often than not, something needs to go bad to the point where if they don't do something, it's going to have serious problems. If people are just treading water, being fat, and they haven't been hospitalized for anything yet, and their pills feel okay enough to keep doing it, they're not going to change. When you go into your doctor and he says, if you don't change, you're going to die early. That's when people are like, okay, guess I shouldn't go to Pizza Hut tonight. Guess I shouldn't eat a dozen cookies or a handful of M&Ms. I'm actually referencing someone there. She knows who she is.
And I'm moving it with my head. I just noticed it because now on a high carb diet, I went back to Value Village and I was shopping, and my arm's not tired at all. I'm going through the whole rack. I'm like, oh.
What the fuck is he doing?
I have all this energy.
This is why I can't stop watching him.
I have fruit in my blood. Fruit blood.
You do see his ribs.
Use it as fuel. Whereas the high fat...
You're not using fuel. Where's your fuel? You're losing weight. And shit. John Marston. People often justify rating crap with, hey, we need quality of life, but then they fail to think about being sick is not really quality. That's that's one of my rants about the standard American diet is you feel like shit all the time. Everyone around me that's on the standard American diet is bitching about some symptom that they have or something that they're having to go to the doctors for. They have fucking headaches. They feel like shit. They have brain fog all the time. They're full of anxiety, full of depression. And they don't see that and then you add in the lifestyle stuff. I talk a lot about minimalism and stuff. I don't know, John Marston, if you from DLive or YouTube, but I talk about a lot of these lifestyle things I'm working on and mental health side because I feel physically I'm there. I feel I still need to work on some of the mental health things. Granted, I've conquered my depression for the most part. But there's things about my life that I think I could be happier than I am now. As in more fulfilled, more satisfied. And I'm always working on that. And I'm always looking to people who are successful in that and trying to figure out how they got there, what they're doing. Most people I meet nowadays, especially since I'm in the public all the time, I meet tons of people. All right, between Uber and being a DJ in a bar and here on YouTube, and I have met so many people from so many different walks of life with so many ideologies, so many ways of thinking, so many ways of living, and the majority of them can't see the forest through the trees. They are completely unaware that all of these minor things add up to poor quality of life. Thanks for Extreme Reality Check for the follow. They don't understand that they haven't, that you feel like shit because you're not doing things right, either lifestyle-wise or nutritionally. And it's not normal. We've normalized feeling like shit. You got a headache? What do? You go get a fucking pill. You're having allergy problems? Autoimmune problems? What do? Well, you go get a pill. Oh, no, don't worry about your fucking diet. You can drink your Mountain Dew and eat your fucking M&Ms, but go get your fucking pill or your surgery or whatever the hell else, and we'll keep you alive. Don't worry. You'll be alive. You'll feel like shit. You'll be miserable as fuck, but you'll live. That's not how I want to fucking live. And, I've mentioned in the past why I woke up to this. I took a little tour in a nursing home. I watched my father die of cancer and saw his changes, the things that he started to change value-wise. This is what got me into minimalism. This is what got me into trying to reclaim my time and make it mine again. instead of selling it to the highest bidder. You know, people just are, we've fucked our value system up so bad, you know, and people are very unwilling to do changes unless their life has become so bad that they wake up. And there are a lot of people doing that right now. I will say that, because things are bad. People's health has been shit. People's life, or quality of life, if you look at the amount of bullshit going on, how many people are having a good life right now? There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of triggered. There's a lot of bullshit going on. No, people aren't having a good fucking life. I realize I'm doing this while Vegetable Police is filming himself with his ass coming out. So let me play out the video. But I don't know how convincing this quality of life speech is with that on the same fucking screen as I right
Fat,
now.
like, what am I running on? My body wants sugar.
We made it for 4 minutes. What are we at?
And I got none. So we're in the
About an hour and a half on the VP part of the stream.
backup fuel. It is a backup fuel.
What is he looking at? Is he looking at his
not our
cane or
main
something? I
source.
mean, what the fuck are you doing?
Look at every plant on Earth. They're all high carb. Carbs are everywhere. Oh, the glorious fruit. Fruit is in a...
And this kills me too. See, our technology has allowed this to happen here. We are able to store fruit a hell of a lot longer than we used to. You know, if we wanted to store fruit back in the day, you had to dry the fruit, you had to ferment the fruit, you had to do all kinds of shit to try and preserve it. Now, we got Walmart distribution centers. And some of that looks straight out of Walmart. But it's farm fresh, right? Farm fresh strawberries. Well, having been a truck driver in Canada for the last 3 years of my 14 years in the trucking industry, I can tell you there is nothing fresh about this fucking fruit. They are so soaked in glyphosate that I broke out in hives regularly while running in Canada as I drove on the highways alongside crop dusters, literally sucking that shit into the air intake of the truck and breathing it for the next fucking 12 hours. You know, these big, huge cities in Canada are surrounded by wilderness and agriculture. And snow, most of the time. So, this is not normal. We aren't designed for this. You're not designed to walk out of your little fucking apartment or your mom's living room or wherever you live. You're not designed to go out there and go around the block or even to drive down to Walmart or McDonald's, whichever you're doing. You're not designed to go here and eat like this. Your body is not ready for this. In nature, you would have had to burn. Look, how many calories do you think were burned if a person had to harvest this without any machines or industrial agriculture involved? How many calories would you burn getting this bounty of fruit that is laid out in front of this store? You burned probably more than you took in, even if you gorged yourself at this buffet of fruit. Way more. That's why he's losing weight, by the way. You know, you'd get no return on investment. We aren't designed for this. Now, if we had to go out and pick all this shit, and we had to fucking store it, and process it, and get it ready so we could eat it, then we probably would break even. We wouldn't get fat eating all the fruit. I hate that argument too. I ain't getting fat. Well, you're gonna lose weight if you just eat fruit. If that's all you eat and you're physically active, you're right. You're gonna lose weight. You're gonna become emaciatedly thin. If you look at any fruitarian, same symptom. You can see symptoms of starvation. You know, from excessively low body fat, unhealthy levels of body fat. You see that. You'll see food obsession. You'll see anxiety and anger and mental instability. These are all symptoms of starvation. Read the Minnesota starvation experiment. Well documented. And that's low calorie. That's not fasting. They didn't fast them. They didn't take away all their food. They gave them 800 calories a day. And they exercised and did all kinds of shit, too, if I remember right. So, this is documented. This is proven science. There's no questioning what happens once you run out of body fat. And if you're a carb burner and you got no fucking body fat, you're in the danger zone. Sooner or later, you're going to run out. Or you're just not going to eat enough to cover your physical activity. And every time you do that, you're going to suffer. And if you can't build up some fat in the in-between periods, you're staying in that danger zone. I don't think seeing abs is healthy. I think it's aesthetically pleasing, but there's not a lot of healthy bodybuilders in the world. They drop dead just like the rest of us. They get all these chronic diseases just like the rest of us. They look good during it. That's why I always shake my damn head when I see the eating videos the Hodge twins put out. They're the ones that got me into fasting, by the way. I used to watch them for intermittent fasting. I don't even know if they fast anymore. I haven't heard them talk about it. Granted, I haven't kept up because a lot of their videos are not around anymore. I watch their advice shit more than their nutrition and bodybuilding shit.
Abundance, my friend. Blueberries for everybody. You need a plum? We got them. Mangoes? 2 for $5.50. That's a ripoff. That is too much. The dog is selling his store. He's out of business. $2.50. Organic ripe bananas. Now I can stay out here for hours. There's zero worry. Fat is the...
And he's so food obsessed, he's picking his place to live based on the availability of easy access to fruit and vegetables. Okay. That's normal. That's what we're supposed to constantly be hungry, is what he's saying. No. I'm having experienced this for 4 years now of not being food obsessed, not being hungry, to the point where I sometimes forget to eat and then I have to make up for it because I know if I don't, it's going to have metabolic results. Yeah. It's not fucking normal to be hungry. I'm sorry. And if it is normal to be hungry, then I definitely don't want to fucking be normal. And he acknowledged that while he wasn't hungry when he was on carnivore and keto. That's a good thing. Because when you're not hungry, you're thriving. If you're hungry all the time, you are not thriving. Your brain is telling you, look, you ain't getting enough. And it's showing. It's straight up showing.
Backup though. Absolutely. I feel it. You'll never feel as optimal as when you have really good blood sugar control and you're just carved up. You feel it. It's like everything. Exercises, mood. You're fueled in the brain.
I like how it's going to take me 2 hours to get through an 18-minute video.
There was no danger. It's better when there's some danger at least.
I do love his walk and talks. It's like adventure video combined with nutrition.
Find some danger. Something I noticed when I was on that carnivore diet, I was starting to get angry. Just anger building up. Anger is the liver.
Can you show me a video that he was angry in about food? Are you fucking kidding me? Have you seen the amount of angry vegans out there? Or angry standard American dieters? You want me to go back and play my old YouTube shit from 10 years ago when I was eating like shit? I was 10 times as angry as I am now. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about here. Everybody I talk to in my fucking channel and everybody I've seen in my personal life has had mental health improvements on keto. And in carnivore, straight up even further. So much so that there's people that have been carnivore for 8 years because they took away their depression or it cured their autoimmune problems or put them into remission, I'd like to say. Don't know that they cured it, but I'm still working on that one. I haven't had a depression, even though I've reintroduced some certain things and had I was anticipating a depression from having cheat days, it makes me wonder if I healed the leaky gut issue, which I believe is the root cause of my depressions. I don't believe I had external causes, though a lot of shitty things happened in my life. I believed I'm well equipped to handle shitty things now, but back then not so much. And I thought for sure, even with this, especially with this cheat day over the weekend, that I would have severe mental health problems as a result of the cheat day. Now, I may still be on board for that. It's only been a few days, so it could happen. We'll see. If I get a depression, then I definitely know why. If I don't get a depression, then I got to start asking, can you heal it? Did I heal it? Was it the alcohol and not the food? That's another question that I'm trying to figure out. I'm not going to go back to drinking to fucking answer that question, but if I try all these other things, like having a cheat day, trying certain vegetables that I thought would probably contributing to feeling down, then, and none of them make me revert to a depression, then clearly I can eliminate all of those as causes and say it was the alcohol that was causing, you know? But I don't want to go back and even have a drink to find out for sure. You know, it is what it is. I'm done with alcohol. I don't want to go back. Even though I just went to a party where everybody was fucking hammered as shit, drinking like fish, I did not have one drop of alcohol. And I didn't want any. I was offered a couple times. Sometimes people forget when they're shit-faced that you don't drink. Some people even commented on it. I can't believe you made it through the whole fucking 4 days that you've been here without having a single drink. You know, I find other ways to get my dopamine. So, it is what it is.
Emotion. When your liver gets clogged up, it's easy to get angry. I see it. I see it in the carny YouTubers. I saw it in my own brain. Just upset.
Which carny YouTubers are you talking about? Spheeridge? He's a shining example. Really? He's angry all the time and a little unstable. I don't know that you can attribute that to carnivore diet because you got people like Michaela Peterson, you got, Amber O'Hearn, Sean Baker, he's on the fence. He's got a little anger in him. But I don't, from the more scientific-minded, reasonable people, there's evidence that they've fixed their issues. Even Jordan Peterson says he had remarkable improvements being carnivore. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about here. I mean, you must be something wrong, and clearly you have health problems beyond a normal person. So I do acknowledge that. Maybe you won't respond as well to keto and carnivore as someone else. Maybe your genetics aren't as lined up as a meat and fat burner. Maybe you are a carb-based. But there's ways of being, if you're going to do it, I would go vegetarian, man. Straight up vegetarian. Allow yourself some eggs if you can tolerate them. Don't eat 100-year-old eggs like you did on fucking raw carnivore or whatever the fuck you were doing. Eating like fermented old fucking rotten meat and shit. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find some organic eggs. Have some fish. Have some butter. Butter's okay. It's not going to cause a dairy problem. Don't get too fancy. Don't eat a lot of cheese. A lot of people struggle with that, and I think you'd be in that category. But you'd have a more full nutritional profile. You'd be able to get more calories in than you would get from eating, what did you say, every 3-4 hours? You have yourself a little fruit. That's not enough calories, man. It's not enough nutrition. Definitely not enough nutrition. There's things you don't get from plants, and there's things that if you eat a lot of plants, you don't absorb or process properly. It's a thing, If you look at our nutritional profile, it's been broken down in very accurate historical studies where they analyzed the bones and what we ate and everything. And meat and fat were very prevalent. Carbs were not as prevalent. We fucked that up for the past 100 years. We changed that around, and when we did that, it all
Upset and angry, just frowning. If I look back at like a lot of my carnivore diet videos,
I will say, as I said, this past little trip that I went on, I was calm, mellow, laid back, chill. It's, granted, I was on vacation-ish, but I was working too. I spent a lot of time editing video on the road. I wasn't angry. I wasn't angry when I was camping. I wasn't angry about anything. I'm not angry at you. I'm ranting. You triggered me a bit. The reason I'm triggered isn't for me, though. It's not because I'm personally insulted by the fact that you're talking shit about keto. I don't give a shit. You're making an argument against the keto diet, and I'm making an argument for the keto diet. And I think between just the discourse of having two opposing opinions, something we're lacking nowadays, the ability to talk when you disagree instead of being silenced. Don't get me started. Anyways, having this back and forth gives people that are on the sidelines the opportunity to hear both sides of the argument and to go out and research what they want to do. That's why I'm doing this video. I'm not doing it because I want to start a beef or drama or have this inter-channel battle. I'm not doing it to get views. I'm not trying to clickbait all the VP followers to come watch my shit because I put VP in the title, though I am putting VP in the title. It is what it is. I feel this conversation, even though you're not really talking directly to me and I'm not talking directly to you, this back and forth point counterpoint gives people the opportunity to think. And we need more of that in modern times. People need to start thinking more, and you're not going to think if you live in a fucking echo chamber. Sometimes you got to listen to people talk shit because it makes you come up with, what foods you do that are wrong, it makes you try and justify your diet. And sometimes you'll find holes in your thoughts, in your logic, based on a back and forth. Or other people will point it out. Definitely. I'm sure in the comments, somewhere in there, I may have been factually fucked up somewhere along the way, and somebody will say, hey, look, dickhead, no, you're wrong. I don't mind it. Now if they come in and say that I'm a fat, ugly piece of shit, rotten teeth, asshole, fucking dickhead, look at you, you don't know shit, you're a fucking moron, that isn't productive. If you come in and say, you're wrong, and this is why I think you're wrong, I'll pay attention. If you just insult me and move along, I'll be like, well, thanks for stopping by. I was glad you came in and lent me such constructive criticism. And I think that's lacking, even in the nutrition community with all the drama. Thankfully, I feel like the drama's calmed down. Either that or the algorithm took it the fuck out of my feed because I stopped watching it.
I'm frowning. Even if I'm trying to say something positive. The liver has so much to do, and I'm telling you, you give it any fat to digest. I can't even eat one avocado a day. That's too much. I start breaking out like crazy.
My skin cleared right the fuck up. Once again, you're blaming a diet for something that, you're not going to convince me because I don't have any of these problems you're having, and I get it reported to me in my comments and shit all the time, and people write me long-ass thank you letters telling me all about their story, and they're not talking about this. So let me know in the comments, or if you're here, there's 4 people left. It's a long one and it's late. Let me know. Is he accurate here? Does this symptom pop up for you? How long have you been keto? And if the answer is yes, have you tried narrowing your diet? Because you can do keto unhealthily. Trust me, I did it. So that's when you need to start really doing some elimination experiments. Drop down to carnivore. He did it. And then reintroduce shit. Oh, you want to have a banana? Well, drop down to carnivore and then just add bananas back in for a while and see what happens. I know what's going to happen, but sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Right now I'm having like a can of sardines on workout days, like 3 days in a row. I think that's too much. It's
Well,
like
that's vegetarian. That's good.
7 grams of fat.
Not a lot of fat. If you're scared of fat, you're going down the wrong path. A low-fat, high-carb diet is not how we're genetically designed. Anybody, I don't care what fucking region you are, that nobody ate that way. There was no fucking vegan societies. Pre-agriculture or even post-agriculture. For vegans, a new thing. Vegetarian, one could make an argument for. There have been vegetarian aligned societies, but they still do a lot of meat and fat. More fish-based. So I don't know. There might be an argument for vegetarians. There is not an argument for a vegan diet.
Too much for my liver. I got to give it a break, and then I can handle more.
Is in plant-based. You're not supposed to eat all plants all the time.
Now, the weird and confusing thing is, for me,
If you're trying to get all your calories that way, you're going to have some other symptoms that pop up.
I have theories, but when I'm on a low-fat diet, 0 fat, my skin clears up. And if I start adding fat, I start breaking out. It's like my liver's freaking out. It sends it out to my skin. Not good. But when I switch all the way to full high fat, then the skin calms down again. And I think it's just because we're so overburdened in the liver that it just can't send any. It's like, you're on your own, buddy. But yeah, if you have skin issues, it's usually an overburdened liver. All kinds of things. Anger, skin issues, glossy eyes, unclear eyes. You just see it in vegans. Their eyes are just bright white. It's like, oh my God, they're pure.
What vegans are you fucking looking at? I mean, really? Are you bullshitting yourself here? Have you looked at vegans lately? What vegans are you looking at? I don't see that when I look at vegans. Am I biased? It's my fucking brain, my keto-addled brain fucking with my eyes? When I look at straight up 100% vegans, I don't see health. I see 2 things go wrong. I see the standard American vegans. They're vegan as fuck, but they're eating all kinds of processed foods. Their health is just as bad as everybody else's. Albeit they do lose a lot of weight, but they are hungry all the time, and they're probably angrier than the raw vegans. And I don't think anybody can be angrier than a fruitarian, which thankfully you're not doing. I hope you don't go back to fruitarian or try it again. If you're gonna do this, stick with it. High-fat vegetarian. That's what I think. I don't know where you're getting this fear of fat. Well, I know where you're getting. You're starting to read fucking vegan propaganda again. They hate high-fat diets. Why? Because they can't do a high-fat diet. Not healthily. Because that would mean lots of vegetable oils. And if you eat a lot of vegetable oils, you're going to deteriorate really quick, health-wise. Because they're hard to break down. It's not where you want to get your calories. And you don't want to get all your calories from sugar either. Because there's other problems with that. You know that liver you were worried about? And you're worried about putting fat in there? And you start doing your research on fructose and how it affects the liver. Because it's the same as alcohol. So if you cut out the alcohol and fructose, your liver's a hell of a lot happier than if you cut out fat. But you're doing the opposite. You're going to cut out fat and raise the amount of fructose you take in. Because you're eating lots of fruit. Vegan logic and shit.
Pure beings of the light. And it's like the carnies. Do they have that? Maybe they do.
Absolutely they do.
If your liver's good, maybe you can handle a carny diet.
Yeah, it's a reasonable argument. I would meet you halfway there. I would say there are some people who probably can't do full carnivore. There are some people who probably can't even do full keto. But you can still do a hell of a lot better than low fat, high carb. You can still do a hell of a lot better than the standard American diet. If you can't do keto, why not just do low carb? Be a carb burner still. raise your fat levels, allow maybe 100 grams of carbs a day, which is, quite frankly, the limit. If you want to be a carb burner, 100 grams of carbs a day. You'll be a carb burner still. You still want to have fat, you still want to have protein, and you don't want to eat a lot of processed foods. That's the next reasonable thing. That's the middle ground. I could get on board with somebody that, that says, I can't do keto, and they at least do that. Get rid of the processed foods, get rid of the excess sugar, get rid of the fucking grain. Oh my God, the grain is the biggest problem. You get rid of all of it. And by the way, grain is in even more foods than fucking sugar. So I argue that grain's the big problem, not sugar in particular. Dr. Lustig would disagree with me on that, but it is what it is. We're halfway. We're almost halfway.
Caveman bitch.
We're not going to make it all the way through here. I'm not going to make this a fucking 3-hour video. We're at 2 hours now. We'll go a little bit longer. I think I've made a lot of points here without going all the way through the whole video. We're going to get through one more argument, and then we'll wrap this shit up for this video.
Another emotional aspect. I call it the carnivore calm. I experienced it
This is a good point.
First night I went carnivore. I ate my big meat meal.
Now, he just contradicted himself. What the fuck is going on here? Earlier, you said you were more angry, and now you're calling it carnivore calm. You're losing it. You're losing it. All right? And I'm sure I'm not the first person to point out that contradiction that just happened there. You can't say that it's increased your anxiety or your anger levels and then call it carnivore calm. Now, to comment on my carnivore experience, whenever I am full carnivore, is in 100% ribeyes and fat. Lots of fat. Lots of ribeyes. And eggs, too. Whenever I'm doing that, although the eggs are a little harder on me, I will say that. But I do need them to complete my nutritional profile. So I'll say there are times when I feel I have a lot less emotions, where I am at like a level where I don't give a shit. I'm not happy, but I am definitely not depressed. It's a nice, stable, and he's right. This isn't a real thing. This is a thing. What he's saying now. I'm not disagreeing with him on. Is that a bad thing, though? To be less volatile emotionally? To be stable? I don't know that's a bad thing. I can't get on board that that's bad. I kind of prefer it to what it was before. I already feel like there's cracks forming in his current experiment.
One meal a day. I think it was afternoon.
But he's trying to talk himself into it. This is what this is, by the way. In my opinion, he's talking himself into that he's doing the right thing. He's not convinced. He wouldn't have made this video if he was convinced his shit weighs the right way. He wouldn't have done it. I don't think. When you look at his other videos and the things that he talks about, he's doing this to kind of pump himself up and convince himself that he's on the right path. He's not. I don't think he's getting all the results he was chasing yet. Believe me, we'd hear about it. And he's trying. He did this on carnivore. This exact same kind of talk. He talked up carnivore, talked down his previous way of eating and other things he's tried for various reasons, and in some cases overlooks the way he, I don't even know. I would, if I was going to do a video like this, I would definitely go back and watch my old shit. Was I really like that? Because I'm not going to remember how I felt all the time. Your brain doesn't store that information. You'll know, kinda. And I can tell you from when I just recently looked at me 10 years ago, the videos I put out, and I was just like, it's not me anymore. I didn't remember that necessarily. I knew I'd transformed in a lot of ways and that I was a lot better, but I didn't really confront it in that straight up fucking visceral way. I think we all should be able to do that. And I think in today's day and age where Facebook has archived your whole life and sold it to the highest bidder, you could go back to 10 years ago and look at your posts. How were you? You know, I know not everybody's a YouTuber, but a lot of people have been on Facebook for the past 10 years. Scroll back through your timeline if you can. I don't even know if there's a feature you could get all the way back that far. And look at 10 years ago. What were you posting? What were you bitching about? What were you saying to people? You know, that's the only positive thing Facebook provides is a complete 100% record of your thoughts and feelings for the past 10 years.
And then later
at
that
least what you share with the public anyway.
night, I felt calm for the first time in a long time. And I thought it was a beneficial thing. I think it's just because you're dead inside. People say this all the time on the carnivore diet.
I wouldn't go as far as saying you're dead inside, but you do experience... No, you don't get the highs. You don't get the lows, but you don't get the highs either. That's basically it with carnivore. If you want it to be more volatile, go more keto. Bring more plants into your life. If you want to get to those highs, acknowledging that you're also going to get the lows back too. You can't just have highs and stable. If you get highs, you're going to have lows. Nothing you can do about it. I know it. I've been fucking with this for years, trying to fix my depressions. I was a lot better on keto, but I still had lows. I described it as when I was standard American dieter, it was like a fucking EKG, my highs and lows. It was like blam, 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 bouncing all over the place. Anxiety out the ass, miserable as fuck. Then I go keto, and it goes like a little bit of high, a little bit of low, a little bit of high. Is there a song like that? A little bit of low. You know, and on carnivore, when I did my carnivore times, and lately on fucking ketovore, it's more like this as far as emotions go. You don't believe me? Fucking do it. Try it for yourself. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody. But for me, my experience with it, that's been it. Standard American diet, high, low, high, low, high, low. Lows really suck. Lows last a while, too. It was probably more like high, and then low, and then high, and then low. You know, it wasn't, you know, as often or as rapid cycling as that. And my manic times, the times where I was on the high side, that weren't the greatest. They weren't like stimulating things. You know, I felt good briefly. And irrational things, you know, it's a lot like bipolar, but not really 100%. Like you weren't getting that level of manic, but you were definitely in that spectrum somewhere. You know, that's kind of where I felt. You know, I still have some mental health issues despite this. While I've conquered the depressions for the time being, is in remission, I think. I'm hoping healed, though. I really am. I do have a little bit of neurotic tendencies. I do, you know, in terms of habits. I definitely still have oppositional defiance disorder. It's been tested thoroughly. I think I have it. Not diagnosed, by the way. That's a self-diagnosis. And maybe a diagnosis by a few of my exes over the years. But, you know, and probably any boss that I've ever had, or anybody that's ever told me what to do, I think has maybe encountered this with me. But, you know, I'm working on it. I'll try and get better. I think I've improved over the years, but I'm definitely haven't fixed certain aspects of my mental health. I'm still working on. I'm doing so with lifestyle. That's the big thing I'm working on. Because I do believe I could be happier, a little more carefree, you know, than I am now. Although I'm leaps and bounds better than not only me from years ago, but a lot of people I meet. I'm doing way better than in terms of mental health and physical health. You know, I'm not trying to toot my horn there. It's just an observation.
They don't react emotionally.
I honestly think I'm doing better than VP, believe it or not. You know, not that it's a contest, but watching his videos, which doesn't mean that that's how it is. You know, I realize this is what he's telling us. We don't know what goes on behind the doors. I'm not accusing him of not having integrity or anything like that. I'm saying, you know, I don't think to publish every fucking facet of my life on YouTube, and I don't imagine he does either, or anybody else for that matter, because I've did that in the past and it blew up right in my face. So I don't share every ounce of my life. I share the important highlights and the important lows, but I don't share everything. Not everything should be shared. It's not how it's designed to work, especially now in today's triggered societies.
Anymore to things. Like, it takes a lot to rive them up. Riled up. That was the word. But it takes...
That's a true story. You know, I don't disagree. So I want to do one more point. All right. 2 hours. So we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes right now. We'll do one more quick 5-minuter, right?
Still embraces my heart. That's fine. He already was. It's only been 6 years. Give me time. I'm looking for this Japanese store. Excellent. And it's just, I was so thirsty. And
all right, here we go.
A keto diet, naturally, you just lose all your electrolytes
This is the salt rant.
Constantly. You can't hold on to sodium because your adrenaline's busy doing other shit.
This is the most scientific explanation of this I've ever heard.
Aldosterone. Your weakened adrenals can't produce aldosterone in the absence of insulin. And it's just, I was so thirsty and I could never pinpoint it. At times, I felt...
If you were thirsty, it's because you didn't get enough electrolytes, and as we've covered earlier, you pretty much were anti-salt throughout your life. And, you know, anybody that's been keto for a long time can tell you that electrolytes you don't store as much because you're not carrying as much water weight. Electrolytes are stored in fluid in the body. The less fat you have, first of all, because believe it or not, there's lots of water in fat cells. Yeah, so if you lose a lot of fat, you lose a lot of water. If you lose glycogen is also fluid, water. Your intercellular fluids. This is where electrolytes hang out and wait for you to use them. The other source of electrolytes is your bones. When you deplete the electrolytes in your water or you're dehydrated, your body will start consuming your bones. This is how osteoporosis happens. This is how a lot of bone problems happen. And then that's about the time you're deficient too. That's where your doctor's gonna be like, hey, you need to fucking supplement because this ain't working. So, you know, you can only run on E for so long before you run out of fuel, and that's counts for electrolytes too. And since you don't have as big of a storage tank when you're keto for electrolytes, you're going to run into these issues. And I do think that if you're still carrying a lot of body fat, you're not going to have as much of a problem. You're not going to ever get to critical electrolyte range, I believe, if you're still carrying around a lot of body fat, because you do store a lot of electrolytes in the water that is in the fat cells that gets released, and you have to piss a million times, you know, as you're losing weight, as the water weight leaves your body, as your kidneys flush. Initially, your kidneys are going to flush, which is normal. That happens after every 72-hour fast. I've done it a billion times. When you do a 72-hour plus fast or you go keto for the first time, your kidneys are not, you know, they're going to be like, oh shit. And you're going to have this big whoosh where you have to run to the bathroom every fucking hour or 2 hours because the water is leaving your body. And with the water leaving your body, so does electrolytes. If you're physically active, you're sweating a lot, you're losing electrolytes. Athletes run into this shit all the time. Why do you think they have gel packs? Why do you think they drink Gatorade? They're trying to get their electrolytes up because you lose them as the water leaves your body. That's it. That's the simple fact of it. If you are ketogenic, you need more electrolytes coming in because your storage tank for electrolytes is lower. Not critically low, because like I said, your body will turn to bones next, but you don't want that. You know, so if you're experiencing cramps, that's usually a nice little early warning sign that you need to check in with your electrolytes and make sure you're getting them and getting them in the right proportions. So I'm going to leave it at that, especially since there's an ad about to pop up. As much as I like supporting you, Vegetable Police, I cannot watch an ad on a Keto Diet is Killing You video, even though I did already several times. You know, it is what it is. So, look at that. We got a key. I love this. You talk shit about something and YouTube places an ad to the opposite. It happens on my channel all the time. I can't tell you how many times I see the weed killer ad now, like when I'm watching shit. Like, I'll go and watch anti-Monsanto glyphosate lecture, and I shit you not, it'll run a fucking 2-minute weed killer commercial in the middle of it. Glyphosate. On the dot. I've been talking shit about glyphosate, and for some reason, the Google listening bots and the fucking algorithm loves, like, funny thing is
I can search the web for answers.
I literally, while I was talking shit, Google's like, hey, and listen, you're being listened to, literally listened to, right now, just happened. I proved it live. All right, so remember, you know, if by some weird chance he watched the entire fucking 2 hour 15-minute stream here, I am not a fucking expert. You do you, you know. I'm giving you an opinion. I'm not trying to change you. I don't want to fucking, you know, I'm still going to watch your videos and shit, even though you don't watch my shit. I just wanted to kind of debate some of your talking points because I hear them not just from you. I hear them from everybody who wants to take a shit on the keto diet for one reason or another. I've heard it from standard American dieters who cling on to these little talking points so that they can keep eating, going to McDonald's and eating fucking fistfuls of fucking candy and, you know, eating lots of shit. You know, justify it how the way it, you know. What you got to realize is the people who are keto and who have been keto for a while, they know all of this shit inside and out. The longer you've been keto, the more you learn this stuff. Not everybody. Some people just follow the keto formula and leave it at that. But a lot of the people that I've encountered start to educate themselves on it a lot more. They don't go as deep as I've been going. I will admit that. Anybody I know that's been keto a while generally does form a knowledge of things, mostly through trial and error. You know, they try different things while they're on the diet. If it doesn't go well, they change it up. I know not everybody's going to sit through 16 hours of fucking Keto Fest lectures to educate themselves. It's kind of my job. I do that, and then I use that to fuel these fucking rants and videos and arguments. So, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. Thank you to everyone who participated in today's live stream on DLive, especially to the 4 of you who hung out for the grand total between the two videos is 3 hours and 10 minutes so far. That's going to be split up into 2 videos for YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, please follow me on DLive. I'm at 178 followers. Thank you for Extreme Reality Check for nudging me 1 follower closer to affiliate, which is my first goal. There's 3 other goals. I'll never be global. I'll be happy with it be a partner. I want some of the perks of partner. I want to be able to run replays on my channel while I'm not streaming. Because I can't tell you how many times people come to my fucking DLive channel and they're like, I ain't fucking working. I didn't see shit. And then they look at it and they're just like, you know, they see the offline thing and I'm like, well, look at there's tabs underneath and they're not really, they don't jump out at you. They could design that color scheme, I think, a little differently to make it more obvious that underneath is a bunch of tabs that they can click on. And that's where the replays are. If I were in charge of designing DLive, I would put replays on the side somewhere on the main screen, maybe underneath, you know, maybe in that edit panels section, take up a chunk of that to have the replays on the landing page. Because right now when you're on the landing page, you get the About section and you get all of that. So if you're somebody from DLive happens to watch 3 hours of my fucking stream, I would say that is a good design choice if they put the replays on the landing page off to the side. But allowing partners to essentially replay their replays while they're not streaming, like kind of like PewDiePie's been doing since he came here, is definitely a great perk. I am looking forward to trying to get to be a partner just so I can do that and have 24-day replays instead of 7-day replays. So that's what we're doing. Gyro Spin Up came back and it's working after it's over. LOL. Oops, it froze up. Well, I'm sorry you're having trouble tonight. I do realize that not everybody has a smooth experience. I've been getting a lot of feedback on that. Myself, I don't have much issues, not even watching on my phone. So I don't know, maybe it's the phone or the device you're using. I do know people with certain tablets have struggled a lot. As far as computers, I don't know. I don't know what your setup is, Gyro. But I do know that some of these are probably resource intensive. And some of the glitches are on my end, by the way. Because like I said, my capture card's having difficulties and shit. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap the YouTube portion of this up. So if you want to talk a little more before I go, I'm available. But please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make more shit. If you like this video and you found it enlightening and you want me to make more videos, remember, at least $20 per video, up to 5 videos per week. Anything over that I take as a tip. That's how you get me to spend multiple, like I've produced a lot of content this week. I've produced content while I was on the road. I'm doing it now. I've did a 4-hour stream yesterday. I did a 3-hour stream today that split into 2 videos, and I'm probably going to crank out another video before the week. I haven't even fucking figured out how many videos I've done. If I hit 5 already for this week. I do realize if I do any more than that, people just aren't going to have time to watch all of that. I mean, that's a lot of time. You see it right here on DLive. It's a lot of time. I understand that. And I understand on YouTube, if you can't watch all my shit right away, take your time, digest it. You don't have to donate every week to have tons of videos when I'm putting out fucking 2-hour videos. I mean, that's a lot of content. I like doing this, so I can do this. I can do long podcasts. I can do long form stuff that you could listen to audio wise. Like this whole thing you could just listen to. You don't need to watch it necessarily. So I don't know. I might bring back the audio podcast for sale at some point, but I don't feel the need to. You think you guys are really stepping up, keeping me in this current format for podcasts, doing them live, being more interactive with it. I like that a hell of a lot more than just talking to myself essentially a lot of the time on my old podcasts, the ones that I was selling. But some people have said they want that back. We'll see how it goes. But for right now, you can just listen to the audio on these. You don't need to stare at it the whole time. It's very audio-centric, what I've been doing today. Not everything will be, though. So, thanks, Gyro, and thank you once again for sending me the letter. It does take a pretty decent amount of effort to, mail a letter to somebody as opposed to just sending it electronically or sending emails. It does show an extra level of thank you, and I appreciate that. For those of you who wanted to know how he did that, and it's rare, not a lot of people do this anymore. I almost got rid of the P.O. box because I wasn't getting any mail in it. So I figured that's part of my YouTube channel dying. But every once in a while, you guys do send me shit, and you have in the past, so I keep it going. And that's in every description to every YouTube video is the address that you can also find that, I think, somewhere on my website. I better go look into that. But yeah, you can send me shit still. I have a P.O. box just for that purpose. And thank you for watching this fucking video for 2 hours if you're on YouTube and you got this far. And thank you for those of you who hung out through the whole fucking thing. All right. Have a nice motherfucking day. I'll stay around a little bit longer to chat or hang out a little, but for those of you on DLive. Other than that, I'm ending it for the video, so I'm going to play my intro for real quick, easy ending and shit. Yeah. And, Casey, I still love you. I still will watch your shit. Don't worry. You just triggered me a little. It's okay. I understand. Shit happens.